getting ready to start on the 2020 summer cardigan knit along. This is a slightly unusual construction, and it begins all the way vertically along the right button band, and you're going to knit across sideways and knit the whole cardigan sideways. Now, I began the front of the button band with a provisional cast on. Reason I start with the provisional cast on is it's going to be finished with an I-cord edging, and I find that a provisional cast on gives the tidiest result with the I-cord edging, because you're using the very same method all the way around, so it's going to look identical. Now, the cast on that I'm using is going to be the invisible method. There's lots of different types of provisional cast on, so if you've got one that you prefer, go ahead and use this. I find that this is a great one for me for a couple of reasons. The first one being, once you get the hang of it, it's really fast. And secondly, there is no picking up afterwards, because you don't have to undo something like a crochet cast on, because all of your stitches are just sitting on the waste yarn and you just need to pop them onto the needle. So I find the finish of it is a lot faster as well. So let's get started here. This pink yarn is my working yarn, and it's going to stay in the front. And then I've got some waste yarn, and I'm using a nice bright green one, so there's a bit of contrast, and it's going to hold at the back. To get started, I find it easier if I just knot them together, because it gives me something to grip onto. And so I'm going to have it positioned like this, with waste yarn back there, working yarn up here, and a long enough tail that I can grip that with my right hand, and also at the same time the right needle. You don't need a circular needle for this. If you prefer to do it with a straight needle, that's fine too. So I'm going to put the waste yarn over my index finger, and I'm going to put the working yarn over my thumb. Let the two hang down and grab them in the fist below. Then stretch those two fingers apart and hold on to the two tails here in the right hand. So it kind of forms a little triangle to work with. Now, this is a two-step process, as in there's two different steps for two different stitches. So I'm going to start with the first one, to dip down between the two and come from under the working yarn and lift it up onto our needle. That's one stitch. It's going to keep wanting to turn around here, so usually I'll end up kind of trying to hold on to that at least until you've got a few stitches with my thumb to stop it twisting around, because it has a tendency to twist. That's stitch one. Now for stitch two, we're going all the way behind the waste yarn, under both yarns, and then scoop the working yarn from the front under the waste yarn. You find you kind of give a little twist with your left hand there, and again it's going to want to turn around, so just hold these in place. So those two stitches form the technique. So I'll do those again, and you can see how it can speed up fairly quickly. I'll do one slowly and then a few fast. So stitch one, and then stitch two, and I'll do a few more faster here. So you can see how this, when you get the grip of it, is this lovely fast method for very smoothly casting on a great number of stitches provisionally, with these twisting around being generally the biggest problem you're going to have. When you get to the end, you can see there's nothing actually fastening it on. So what you're going to want to do is you will hold on to the waste yarn as you're turning around, and then you'll work with your working yarn and just keep that down so that you don't lose that first stitch. So I'm going to go on and continue casting on as many as I need for the size I'm doing. I'll work a couple of rows, and then the next thing I'm going to show you is how to do the single row buttonhole.